one of my first jobs actually was working lunchtime theater at the hall. Charlie Tomlinson was the AD, and Chuck Harriott, who I later married, was he was the director of the show, and they put an ad in the paper, and I wrote, because I couldn't believe there was an ad in the paper for actors, and I wrote a cover letter, sent my photo along, my headshot, and they called me about a week later, because of course I had to mail it in those days, and they called and said, we don't know where you're coming from, but can you come for an audition? And I did, and that was my first time working for the hall. So that was 1989. It was extraordinary to be part of that lunchtime theater series because it got us on the streets of St. John's. So we rehearsed it, I think, in the old Munn Extension building, and it was called Boatload to Ring Road. So the cast was Sean Panting, Lisa Porter, Jonathan Moyes, Colin Kerrigan, and I. Chuck Harriott directed it, and it was a collective, basically. So we got together, we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? And I think it was a 20-minute show, so we wrote 10 minutes that was like a history of Newfoundland. So it was songs, skits about Newfoundland history. And then at the time, there was a big controversy about Pippi Park because they were getting ready to pave Pippi Park, which of course they did. So the big slogan was Save Pippi Park. And because we were being satirical, we chose Pave Pippi Park to be the name of our second short show at lunchtime. And it got a lot of interest in the community because they were like, what are they talking about? But of course, for us, it was a satire. And we had a lot of fun with that. We went all over town. Like, I remember the first time I was ever at the Regatta was performing that show. We performed out here in front of the hall, down on George Street in the, in the plaza there. I just remember going everywhere. Where Scotiabank currently is now, that was kind of empty. Any empty space in town, we would show up at it. So it was lunchtime, 40 minutes. I think we did 20-minute shows. And it was, all of those people in that show figure prominently in my artistic life. Most of them I still work with today. And I remember thinking, like, what an incredible experience to be so connected from the very first project that I did here. And like I said, I've worked with all of them multiple times since. So it was a pretty incredible way to start my career, even though I was still in theater school.